Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to Talladega Superspeedway tonight. It's Tuesday Night Thunder in the RMR Racing Series. It is going to be a money race, of course. Maybe should have started out with that, but drivers, you see him here sliding around, getting ready. That's Garrett Maines having a little fun before we get ready to go here. White flag is out for practice. That means it's time to go green for qualifying. Looks like we have a pretty strong field shaping up tonight, near 20 cars. Looks like 19 as it currently stands. Maybe give or take a couple. We'll have to see how it all pans out. Let's see who decides to hit the track first. Remember, going to be weekly payouts in this Tuesday Night Thunder Series. But a lot of these guys have their eye on the prize for later in the season where that championship race, let me tell you something, it is going to be a lot of money. I'm talking over $1 grand. It's going to be going home to the driver that wins the championship for the Tuesday Night Thunder Series. So these guys are getting excited. And that grand that I'm talking about, that could be a little bit less, give or take. I know the championship race prize purse will probably total over $1 grand. Maybe I should put it that way. Looks like Zachary Lima, though, is going to be the first driver out on track in the Red Bull Racing Machine. We saw him finish up front and in the money last week. He was working with who I can only assume to be his teammate. Both are Dale Cup competitors. That was Steve Korosek. Steve out here trying to repeat after what he did last week. Got the win, of course, the driver out of Cleveland, Ohio, very fast here in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Get down trackside view here. See what kind of lap Steve can put down tonight. See if he thinks about he wants to start on pole or not. We're not going to see all these drivers put down a lap time. There is no restriction, of course, in the Tuesday Night Thunder Series. Everybody can qualify if they so choose. But I don't think that necessarily means we are going to see everybody qualify. Some of the professional guys, Garrett Maines, Jason Maines, I think we might see some of those guys sit back. They know we're going to have a stage break at lap 20. And what I did not notice on the poster, which I'm going to check real quick just to make sure before we get started, was if there was a payout for the stage winner. We know there was last week. Actually, I may have this a little mixed up. Steve Korosek did not win last week. That was Michael Triscaro who got his first win last week because we were at Daytona. Steve Korosek did win at Talladega, though, with Zachary Lima. I'm trying to remember. This may have been a different series. Matter of fact, might have been Jimmy Crow series. These guys, sometimes, I see them in so many different series. We get them mixed up on where they got their win. But I do remember seeing Steve and Zachary Lima finish up front together in recent money races. Steve, though, coming around. This is going to be his lap. And look how nicely he can hug that yellow line out of turn 4. Watch him dive down onto the apron through the tri-oval. Ooh, this lap looks pretty fast. I really did like the looks of it. Let's see what it is. Looks like, sure enough, going to top the board right now with a 54.0 fast lap from the driver, the 27. Let's see who else we got out on track. Here we go. Last week's winner, driver out of Chagrin Falls, Ohio. That's Michael Triscaro in the 34 machine. Team PGR. One of the newer teams still looking for drivers. So if you're one of the guys out here or somebody looking to join in the money racing scene, here you go. You're looking for a team. Look no further. Let's refresh this, get some of these guys' paints and etc. updated. You see it on the scoring board. Zachary Lima now takes top spot. Dale Cup teammate to Steve Korosek. Let's see what kind of lap Michael Triscaro can put down right here. Chooses not to run that apron. I don't think he's going to be able to get pole. See if we can get a top 5, and it looks like no, going to stay 8th on the board in that 34 machine. As a matter of fact, let's actually go ahead and update this paint scheme real quick while we can. Let's see if we got anybody else out on track first. Mike Davenport, his teammate, just finished up his lap. How about Matthew Baker? Matthew Baker, one of the fast qualifiers, looks like is going to be sitting 6th, though, as of right now tonight. David Sheets, McCall Motorsports driver out of Wake Forest, North Carolina. See what kind of lap he can put down as we have just about a minute left here in qualifying. And we will get the fireworks coming to life here soon in the Tuesday Night Thunder Series. As I was saying, I'm just setting up a couple guys' number schemes right here, so I do apologize if things are moving around here just a little bit for a moment. Got to get everybody all set up and ready to rock. There we go. That should fix. Let's go David Sheets. See what he can put himself out on the board. Currently sitting last, 8/10 behind the pole time, but this is where he's going to try to get it all right here. We'll see if he can do it. You see how he rides up to that middle line. This is what we see quite a few drivers actually try to do. Keep a little bit more speed in the car. Now he dives down to the apron. Let's see if he can get it. At the line, he is going to put down, jumps a couple spots into the top 10. David Sheets going to sit 9th as the white flag is out for qualifying. Wasn't able to quite get himself up to the pole. Good effort either way. We are now gridding up, so we give all these guys a chance to get on the grid and get ready, and we will go through your starting info, or starting lineup and race info. So we get ready to go green here on Ghost Racing Network. Stick with us. Back live here at Talladega Superspeedway. Drivers now gridding up. Let's go over your race info. We just said we were at the famous Talladega Superspeedway. It's RMR money racing. The Tuesday night Thunder Series. It's going to be the NASCAR Xfinity Series, of course, 60 laps around this giant Superspeedway oval. 100% fuel, unlimited tires, 1 fast repair. Fixed setups as always, and there is going to be a stage break on lap 20. That's going to be important to note because that is kind of going to be the mini race in the big race, and that is going to be what these guys are going to have to get through first before they can have a chance of getting to the end of this thing and getting the win. But we take a look now at your starting grid. Starting on the pole tonight is going to be Zachary Lima. To his outside is going to be his Dale Cup teammate. That's going to be Steve Korosek. Starting in row 2 is going to be Kyler Wynn. Good to see Kyler back here. Very competitive driver. Driver's going to have to watch out for him tonight. Danny Eshelman on the outside. 5th is going to be Garrett Main. 6th, Jeff Merck. 7th, Matthew Baker. 8th place is going to be Jacob Emery, one of the newer drivers. Good to see him out here. David Sheets 9th. 10th is going to be Jason Maines. 11th place, Mike Davenport. 12th, Michael Triscaro. So that is both Team PGR drivers right there in row 6. Moving back in the field, 13th is going to be Brandon Broadfoot. 14th, Chad Ross. 15th, Christopher McCall. His outside, his teammate, McCall Motorsports' Ron Morris Jr., also RMR owner. 17th is going to be Ken McCall Jr. out of Georgia. 18th, William H. Scott Jr. And rounding out the field for 19 cars tonight is going to be Mark Vondell, sitting in that 19th position. Let's get everything up, get running, and let's go up front. Give a little bit of credit to your pole sitter, Zachary Lima. On the outside is going to be Steve Korosek, and what I want to see is if these two are going to try to coordinate a restart potentially. Worked well together in the past money races, and you got to find at least one guy that you can work really good with. You can't pit by yourself these super speedways. Finding teammates early, anybody that wants to work with you even. We don't see teammates play quite as big of a role in these money races as we do in the actual league races. But don't let me discredit that at all, because they still do play a certainly big role, and everybody's going to have to watch out for this man right here, Garrett Maines, Coca-Cola Series driver. You better believe he knows how to get it done, especially when he has his teammates Matthew Baker and Jason Maines in the field with him. Those guys going to be looking to sweep all the money away from the rest of the field tonight. Looking further back, Ken McCall Jr. has a couple McCall Motorsports teammates with him. Ron Morris Jr., Christopher McCall in front, and Mark Vondell just behind in the 59 machine. We are getting ready to go racing. Quick reminder, I haven't got to check, so you guys will have to let me know if we reach it and I miss it, but we are just right there knocking on the door of 500 subscribers. So if you guys like what you're seeing tonight, new to the channel, please go give us a follow. We're just about there. It's a big ordeal, but you know what else is a big ordeal? The money on the line tonight. Pace car pulls off. We're getting ready to go green. Field rolling slowly now up to the Geico restart zone. Starter has the flag in hand. Green flag is out. We're racing at Talladega. And you see right off the start, Steve Korosek, maybe not the restart he wanted. It was drop of the green on go here. So got to think maybe the 27 just didn't accelerate as nice as he wanted to. But let me tell you, the 82 and the 12 have linked up. We'll see if Kyler Wynn thinks about maybe jumping high here on the backstretch for the first time. Sure enough, there he goes. Will Garrett Maines follow? Yep, he does. He jumps right in front of Steve Korsak. That's going to leave Matthew Baker, his teammate, on the bottom. But the 16 is trying to push Kyler Wynn all the way up to the front. Sure enough, he does. He gets clear himself. Will he drop low? Yes, he does. He drops right down in front of the 12 of Zachary Lima. Now to his outside, Kyler Wynn. I think that 82 maybe wanted to drop low, was trying to bring Garrett Maines with him. Garrett made sure to go below before he could have any chance of slamming the door. Looks like further back, up top now. Let's see Jason Maines making a run with the 20 car. That's Jacob Emery, 3 wide here early. Remember, no rule against it. So these guys are going to get racy as soon as they can. That's Michael Triscaro in the middle, drafting up to Danny Eshelman. Jeff Merck, Christopher McCall have also jumped up to that third line. And remember, this first race is going to be going to lap 20, so these guys not going to have to pit. We'll see if we see any strategy, though I don't think we will, because these guys are going to need to wait until the last second to pit on fuel during that stage break to make it all the way. Let's look further back. We got a couple guys sitting a little bit further back. The first one is going to be William H. Scott in the Monster Energy paint scheme, 167. Playing it cautious right now. So is Mark Vondell, Ron Morris Jr. See what, I had a chance to talk with Mark before the race, and he's been on a little bit. He's got a little bit of momentum on his side tonight. Did pretty good in the ISSL. I believe that is Ian's money races just a couple nights ago. So he's carrying some momentum. He did tell me he was going to start in the back here. Just play it safe. Doesn't want to be too aggressive too early. And right in front of him, he's got 3 of his teammates, it looks like. Ron Morris Jr., Ken McCall Jr., and Christopher McCall Jr., Brandon Broadfoot, Michael Triscaro, and his teammate trying to find each other. The 55, Mike Davenport, hometown Colorado Springs. Go back up front. These guys still 2x2, but no lead change just yet on either lanes. Kyler Wynn still leading the outside. Garrett Maines still leading the inside. Just for anybody that missed it, probably won't be going over it much longer, so I want to make sure I cover it today. Look at the helmet here of Steve Korsak. Look in that car. See the helmet with the eyes and teeth. Some of you guys wondering, well, who cares why you bring this up? That's one of my favorite paint schemes, at least on a helmet. I didn't even know you could do that in iRacing. Very cool helmet, though. You can see he looks mad. He looks like he is ready to get up there and win himself some money tonight. Looks like the 3-wide action, though, has now calmed back down to 2x2 throughout just about the whole field. Last 4 cars, single file on the inside. Everybody calming down a little bit. It got a little bit racy early, trying to feel everything out. Everybody getting a feel for who can push, who can't, who do they want to go with. And now we're going to see a move here from Chad Ross and Christopher McCall. And we'll see if anybody goes with them. Jeff Merck, Jason Maines, maybe a couple guys that would think about doing it. But right now they're staying tucked in line behind Danny Eshelman in the 6. Danny Eshelman having a strong run here. 3rd car in line on that outside line. 06 David Sheets, currently the highest running McCall Motorsports driver. The next closest guy is going to be Christopher McCall in that 94 machine. Five laps completed so far of the 60 here tonight. Points definitely going to play a role, and I don't know if these guys get any for the stage breaks or not. I would almost assume maybe there's something up on the line. But every race you got to make the most of. Don't want to get yourself in a points deficit and have to worry about coming back late in the season. The best thing you could do is get yourself a big lead, which I wouldn't be surprised if we see from any of these guys. Get as far out in front as you can, so late in the season you could just worry about being out here racing for money. Not so much trying to keep yourself in that championship battle. Of course, $8 from every entry fee tonight is going towards that championship fund. Kyler Wynn jumped to the inside, but he's got to jump right back to the outside. Garrett Maines ducks below, and now further back up top, here comes Jason Maines and Jeff Merck in the 60 machine. Tucks back in line, no run. You see those 2 PGR teammates, Michael Triscaro and Mike Davenport, lined up behind each other. It looked like I saw a little bit of damage on one of those cars. See if we can get a better view of it here. Yep, sure enough, the 34, Michael Triscaro, not sure exactly what happened to him. But yeah, you see it there on the back right of that 34 machine. He's got a little bit of damage. He's going to have to worry about that. Don't want to accidentally have your fast repair check. That damage shouldn't affect him at all here. Unless he has some on the side, which I couldn't tell from there. It didn't look like it. Oh, actually, sure enough, he does. Yep, you see it just behind that right rear tire. It's like he made some decent contact with something, potentially another car. Doesn't seem to be affecting him up here in the draft. We'll have to watch as the race goes on. But up here, these guys are going at it 3x3. Jeff Merck pushing Jason Maines, trying to get him to the lead. Big shot down the backstretch, and it looks like maybe going to get him clear right here. Sure enough, he does. Will the 11 try to drop down into turn 3? There he goes. That's going to open up the top to Jeff Merck. He's going to be able to get some clean air now to that Toyota Supra. Kyler wins. Steve Korosek going to try to stack back up and regroup Matthew Baker on the top lane. That's very impressive. I thought it was just those two cars making it all the way to the front by themselves on the top. It did, of course, have that third car of Matthew Baker, but now it's just two of them. Jason Maines, on the other hand, went all the way down, jumped right in front of his son and teammate Garrett Maines. And I don't think we will see those two making a move anytime soon. Looks like Duck Duck in the chat says, hello, Austin. How's it going, Duck Duck? Good to see you out here on a Tuesday night. Watching some RMR Money Racing, the Tuesday Night Thunder Series here at Talladega Superspeedway. We are 8 laps in of 60 so far. It looks like David Sheets, he's going to drop back a little bit here, fall back to some of his McCall Motorsports teammates, get a little breather. Maybe doesn't like how aggressive these guys are being early. You see Ken McCall Jr.'s teammate going to pick him up. David Sheets in that beautiful Transmetic paint scheme. Ron Morris Jr., Christopher McCall, of course, who is currently the highest running McCall Motorsports driver. Oh, Jeff Burke gets loose. Can he save it? He's trying everything. Oh, he does. What a save there by the 60 of Jeff Merck. I thought for sure he would lose it, but he holds on. And that thing became a handful out of nowhere into the tribal, but he somehow holds on. Let's go back and take a look at this real quick. Oh, my. Wow. Big save early. Jeff Merck. Here we go. Let's see if we can get a good view of this. Not sure if he just got a little out of shape or what exactly went so wrong all of a sudden here. See Matthew Baker not quite on his bumper yet, but looks like maybe gonna get on his bumper here just as they enter the tribal. Tries to give him a little shot. Sometimes these things real unstable in the tribal, and you see him out of control right here. I thought for sure he'd go right down to the door of Christopher McCall, but no, holds on to it. Doesn't overcorrect either. So does Matthew Baker. Both of those cars sideways out of line. Ron Morris Jr. has to burp the throttle, but everybody holds on to it. That'll bring us back live up front where we are staying green. Garrett Maines in first, Jason Maines second, and it looks like that 11 has decided to jump up top. Opens the bottom up to his teammate Garrett Maines. Zachary Lima pushing on the inside. Steve Korosek on the outside. Ooh, Zachary Lima maybe thought about going up. Looks like he is going to think about it, and just like that, Steve Korosek goes with him. And they shuffled Jason Maines right out of line. Not something you usually see these guys be able to do to a veteran such as Jason. They made light work of that 11 car right there down the backstretch. Shuffled him right out of line. There was almost contact, which I think contributed to it. But either way, Jason Maines falling back, trying to regroup. Looks like he was able to drop right in front of Jeff Merck. And now we see Steve Korosek and Zachary Lima controlling the bottom just like that. Power move from the duo. The 12 and the 27. Kyler Wynn back up top. Danny Eshelman second in that top lane. And Christopher McCall has now moved up to 6th. Third car on that top line. Down the backstretch, you see these guys are a little bit more squirrely than we normally see, especially early. We do have 9 laps left until that stage caution. And I think if I'm out here, I maybe want to be up front when that stage caution does come out. Not the case, so remember we did have 19 cars here tonight. You better believe all of them are still on the lead lap, and you see it on your track map. All still together, more importantly. So we got every single car that's in the field up here running strong. No issues for anybody right now, and everybody does have a fast repair if they need it. We saw things get a little sloppy at Daytona last week coming to the stage break. Guys, going to try to prevent that here at Talladega. Of course, it is a little bit wider here. 4 wide is pretty much the equivalent of 3 wide at Daytona here at Talladega. Oh, wow, that was really close. You saw the 82 of Kyler Wynn get really out of shape there coming out of turn 2. And these guys are having quite a few handling issues. Of course, pretty sunny day out here in Talladega. Track a little slick, but these Xfinity cars, usually the best handling of all the series. Very smooth on the wheel, but we've seen a couple guys with a couple close calls so far here tonight as we stay 3 wide. Kyler Wynn now going to jump to the top. trying to make a move around that 27 of Steve Korosek. That's going to put Danny Eshelman as the pusher. Through the tri-oval, 3x3, Kyler Wynn trying to get clear. The 24 bobbles it down to the apron. And now Kyler Wynn going to jump right down in front of the 27 of Steve Korosek, who he was just pushing. Jason Maines now up top. He's got Jeff Merck and Matthew Baker behind him. Ron Morris Jr. also trying to join the party. Still 3x3, 13 laps in. All of a sudden, this top lane looks like they've got a lot of help. We'll see if they have enough to make it work. The middle with only 4 cars. Steve Korosek, though, still doing a masterful job of pushing, trying to keep Kyler Wynn out in front. And I was just going to say, we'll see if the 82 maybe thinks about dropping to the bottom. Sure enough, he does. Kyler Wynn jumps right in front of the Red Bull Racing Machine of Zachary Lima. That's going to put Steve Korosek up to the first spot in the middle. Jason Maines in the 11 still leading up top. But, man, these guys are getting really wiggly. We got to be careful. We still got a long ways to go. Everyone does have that one fast spare, but if you don't have to use it right now, I promise you, you would rather not. Steve Korosek now back up to the top in front of Jason Maines this time. Kyler Wynn moves to the middle. Zachary Lima back down in front of the field on the bottom, but here goes Garrett Maines to the middle. Zachary Lima trying everything to block, keeps himself in the middle there. Now 4 wide. Steve Korosek not going to cut the 16. And he breaks. Christopher McCall jumps up top. These guys really getting antsy here early. 4x4 into 3. How long can they hold it? Ron Morse Jr. on the bottom. The 24 has now found his way to the front. That's Brandon Broadfoot. Oh, we got one spinning further back there. Now wrecking further back. The 6, Danny Eshelman slides. So does the 34, Michael Triscaro. The 6, Danny Eshelman comes down into David Sheets. The 03, Ken McCall Jr. trying to get by it. And that brings out our first caution of the night. Michael Triscaro now gets it rolling in the grass. That 34 machine has got a little bit more damage now to the right side. Don't think it's worth a fast repair just yet, though, Michael. Keep that thing on out there. Get some optional repair on it. You're going to need it at the end. Let's go back and take a look at exactly what went so wrong all of a sudden here. It looked like this was one of those incidents that started farther back, so let's take a look at TV3 to see if we can get a better idea of just when everything went so wrong here. They were 4 wide. It looked like they were all doing a pretty good job of holding it together, but all of a sudden off turn 2 here, things didn't go so well anymore. And you see, looks like Danny Eshelman's going to get up into the 5 of Matthew Baker. Baker does a nice job holding on to it. That sends the 6, Danny Eshelman, down into Michael Triscaro. The 34 is going to go down the bottom. The 6 comes back up, tags Chad Ross. Now he's going to come back down the track. This is where pretty significant contact is made. There's the damage on the right side. 55, Mike Davenport took a couple of big shots right there. The 34, Michael Triscaro locks it down, sliding now. Danny Eshelman's going to make a little bit more contact right there with David Sheets. And you see the 6 has some big damage on the back, a little bit on the front. Don't know if any of these guys are quite going to have to use their fast spares. I think it's going to be close. But 4 wide this early. They were doing such a good job at it, so I don't want to take any credit away from anybody, but you thought it'd maybe only be a matter of time before somebody would lose it. Danny just washed up just a little bit. When you're 4 wide, that's what happens. Just the slightest mistake piled up the field. Let's talk about your top 5 right now. I don't think we'll see many pitters, at least not up front. Some of these guys in the back that know they may not have a chance are coming in to take damage repairs, tires, fuel, whatever they might need that'll help them gain track position here after they pit for the stage break. But your top 5 as it runs, it's going to be Zachary Lima first in the 12 machine. Second, Garrett Maines. Third, Brandon Broadfoot. Fourth, Kyler Wynn. Rounding up the top 5 is going to be Ron Morse Jr. in the 76. Driver out of Columbia, South Carolina. Driving for McCall Motorsports, RMR owner. We got to thank him for putting on these amazing events and choosing Ghost Racing Network for his broadcast. Means a lot. You know what else means a lot? All you guys out there watching, if you like what you're seeing, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. I'll tell you what, I have not checked yet if we're at 500 subs, so we will figure that out shortly. Get back to you guys if we do. We're going to take a short break. You won't miss a thing. We're going to go Ghost Racing Network side by side. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. It's the Tuesday Night Thunder Series here on the RMR Money Racing. You guessed it, while we were over break, looks like we did hit 500 subs. Thank you all so much. I know this means a ton to Bryce, means a ton to me as well. We can't thank you all for how far we've gotten so far, and we look forward to hopefully 500 more and counting. Let's get back to the racing action, though. Up front is going to be Zachary Lima and Garrett Maines on the first row. Second row is going to be Brandon Broadfoot and Ron Morris Jr. Let's get the tower back up here for everybody so you can see your running order. Now let's take a look at the manufacturers in the field tonight. You see it there, mostly Chevys, one Ford and one Toyota. I don't know if those two are necessarily planning on working together. Garrett Maines the only Ford, and Jeff Merck the only Toyota. The rest of the field, it's those golden bow ties. A lot of times in real life, the manufacturers work together at these plate tracks, not so much in the game. We saw Jeff Merck working with a group of Chevys. But we'll see. I was a little surprised to see just how aggressive Steve Korsak and Zachary Lima were being, but it paid off. Sometimes that's what you got to do out here with some of these big shots, some of the big guns. Garrett Maines, Jason Maines, they're trying to stick it to him right now. Kyler Wind, another great driver. He is going to be lining up behind Garrett. So we'll see if this outside lane can make the momentum that they normally do on that first lap. If they can, they are going to be a hard group to try to stay in front of. Also, what is Garrett thinking here? If he gets clear, does he keep the 82 behind him? Or does he think about dropping low and open up that outside of the 82? It is going to be, looks like a 2-lap shootout. Maybe 3, but I'm thinking it's going to be a 2-lap shootout. 18 in lap 19. Caution should be coming out on lap 20 to decide it here, but we will find out in a minute. Field rolling back up to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out at Talladega. You saw right there, Kyler Wind tried to stack up and give the 16 a big push. Looks like it's going to work out. They're not linked up just yet, but that bottom fell apart. Brandon Broadfoot not able to get there, but here comes help. Steve Korsak gets down with Zachary Lima, and wow, what a recovery from the 27. Big push to the 12. And all of a sudden, this outside looked like they were going to have it, and now they are falling back. Kyler Wind's trying to get on the bumper of Garrett Maines as quick as he can. And he's finally going to be able to get there further back. Looks like the 167 William Scott thought about 3 wide. Isn't going to be able to make it happen. And it looks like a lot more separation and disorganization this time. A lot of drivers falling back, just going to ride it out for the rest of this stage. Maybe stay out for track position. Up front, though, they're going at it. We are coming to what should be the last lap in the stage. Garrett Maines on the top, Zachary Lima on the bottom, Steve Korsak doing a masterful job pushing, so is Kyler Wind. Matthew Baker, though, Jason Maines, they look like they are lining up for a run. We'll see if they can do anything with it. Here comes the 5 of Matthew Baker. Who would the 20 go with? It's Jacob Emery. If they decide to make a move, Jeff Merck maybe also going to work with him. Off turn 2, Matthew Baker sizing it up. Will he take the run or does he stick behind Kyler Wind, who is currently behind one of his teammates at Garrett Maines? There he goes in that 5 machine. Jumps to the outside, 3 wide into turn 3. That middle doesn't really have a lot of help right now. Can they hold off to the start-finish line? Zachary Lima on the bottom, starting to pull away just a little bit, but here comes the run from the top. Matthew Baker, Jason Maines, Garrett Maines, Kyler Wind, Zachary Lima, Steve Korsak. Here we go, 3 by 3. Out of the trial to the line, it's going to go to Zachary Lima for your stage 1 finish. It looks like, at least, unless they are going to go one more time. We will find out here shortly. They're still going at it right now, and that might just mean that it is at the end of lap 20. Zachary Lima still out in front. Garrett Maines now pulled side by side. Kyler Wind pushing him with all he's got, trying to keep him out in front. Matthew Baker up top is going to get clear. Oh, but he had to dive low. Jason Maines, he was trying to bring him with him, but he couldn't do it. That puts Matthew Baker out in front. Zachary Lima going to get risky, trying to push him in the corners. Out of turn 4, Garrett Maines not going to have any help in this 12 car. Maybe think about a move on the 5. Here we go. Jumps to the outside. Steve Korsak not going to be able to follow, but now that opens the bottom back up. Matthew Baker goes back down low. Up top, the 12 at the line. It's going to be Matthew Baker, and that will end the stage. Nice finish there from these guys. Caution is out. And boy, you would think that was for the end of the race. That was absolutely insane. Nice job of blocking, though, by Matthew Baker to does indeed get your stage 1 win. I do apologize for it. The info I had did say stage break on lap 20. I gotta remember though that usually means on the end of that lap, which is why the caution fell on lap 21. It is going to be scheduled green the rest of the way though, unless of course we get a caution for incident. But I'll tell you what, let's go see if we can dial up stage 1 winner Matthew Baker. We'll be right back. All right, and I have found your stage 1 winner, Matthew Baker. Matthew, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you guys look like you were dang near going for the win on that last lap. It looked like you even had to do a little blocking in the travel, but you got it done. What's it going to take, though, to win the race?
I just think the teamwork that we had there on that green-white checkered was what we need to do for the end of the race as well. We got to execute on all facets and all the lanes to keep running up front. It's a lot of fun battling Lima and Corsac there. They're really, really good.
They certainly look like a challenge, but you're able to fend them off, come home. Congrats on the stage win, and hopefully we're talking to you at the end of this thing.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, and we will leave these guys to get back to their race. All right, and now we will be right back, just so I can set the audio back up. Stay with us. All right, you heard it. We just talked to your stage 1 winner, Matthew Baker. Has fallen back a little bit now. That's because the strategy changes up when these guys all come into pit road. And let's talk about your new top 5. Michael Triscaro, driver out of Chagrin Falls, Ohio, Team PGR founder. And one of the drivers is leading the way right now in that 34 machine. In second, his outside is going to be McCall Motorsports' Christopher McCall. Bad teammate is what they call him sometimes. Ken McCall Jr. going to be starting behind him. Fourth, Chad Ross. And running out the top 5 is going to be David Sheets in the 06. So McCall Motorsports now going to try to make their presence known. And I'll tell you what, you heard Matthew Baker say it there. Steve Korosek, Zachary Lima, they're going to be a threat. Those guys are fast, and they know how to get it done. And you saw it right there. I could not believe the aggression. Almost a little bit refreshing, if you will, because a lot of times what we see is these guys try to follow a general rule of you just kind of whatever line you're in, you just push until you get to the front. Not the case there. Those guys were ready to block, leave each other out. They did not care. Whatever it takes, because sometimes that is what it takes. If you're just joining in, you might want to sit down. This thing's getting exciting. We are going to have, it looks like, as the pace car lights are off, looks like it is going to be 20, 30-ish laps left. Yep, 36 laps left. Once we go green, though, it is, of course, going to be 35 laps left. Hope everybody is enjoying this Tuesday night Thunder Series racing here at RMR Money Racing that we are hosting tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. You are, of course, watching on Ghost Racing Network. We appreciate everybody for being here. Just going to poll up in chat real quick. See what you guys think. Always good to get some input from you guys, and this is the best way I can do it. Will we go green from here is the question. Get your answers in, and we will see what you guys think here in just a couple of laps. Further back now, some of these guys are going to have some work ahead of them. And with this distance on a run, it's going to be very close on fuel. Fuel number going to be very close. If we have a caution at any point, these guys will all certainly come in and be good to go. But I'm not sure if they're going to quite be able to make it 100% fuel. Like I said, it's going to be borderline right on that window of 35 laps. So we'll have to see. These guys may have to save a little bit before they get really racy. And we'll see how that balances out with some of these heavy hitters back here. Going to have to make their way up. Jeff Merck, Steve Korosek, Zachary Lima, Ron Morris Jr., William Scott, Kyler Wynn, Brandon Broadfoot, Jacob Emery, Matthew Baker, Jason Maines. Almost as if the field got inverted here. Michael Trescara, let's see if we can check out if he fixed that damage. Sure enough, he did. That looks a little too clean to be optional. Something in that 34 did take his fast repair. And I think maybe this is a good decision to get up here in the lead. Cleanest place to be. You don't have to worry about running into anyone in front of you. Hoping to keep everything in his mirror. Here he comes, rolling up into the Geico restart zone. Lap 25 of 60. Green flag is back out here in the Tuesday Night Thunder Series. Oh, good even jump this time. Chad Ross, though, is going to win the race to the bumper. Ken McCall Jr. trying to get to the 34. I think him, David Sheets. We see Mark Vondell. How about Mark Vondell up here? Fourth car, 7th place on that inside line. We'll see if they can all find each other. If they do, they're going to be hard to beat. And I think it's just a matter of time before further back we see 3 wide as we're already seeing guys stack up trying to get run. Steve Korosek, so he got a little damage to the rear end of that thing. Not sure what that's from, but you see him and Zachary Lima already trying to go to the front. Matthew Baker, Jason Maines have found each other. Garrett Maines also on the bumper of that 6. Danny Esserman, I think he's just waiting for his teammates, and then he's going to try to go to the front. You see the 16 right there. There he goes, jumps out of line. Garrett Maines, look at the push he's getting from his teammate. And you see the run right here, Chad Ross. Nothing he can do about it. Maybe thought about blocking. If he did, he can't now. And now he's going to get dead even with Christopher McCall as they cross the line. 26 of 60 now completed. Three by 3, just like that. In the middle lane, looking like maybe they don't have the momentum all of a sudden. Who can push the best? Ken McCall Jr. giving Michael Trescara everything he can handle. But up top, Garrett and Jason Maines going to get clear. Not sure if Jason's going to be able to hold it. What will Garrett do? Yep, sure enough, they both do get clear. All the way to the bottom they go. Matthew Baker maybe got a little bit of contact with the 94 Christopher McCall. Either way, they both hold on to it. And now we see 2 of the Maines back out in front. Looks like Garrett, though, going to try to go high and block. Not going to work out for him. And here we go. We're going to go 4 wide again. Christopher McCall is able to jump up to the top, but Chad Ross isn't. Oh, these guys are all out of shape right now. Easy, fellas, easy. Into turn 1. These guys really bumping. Oh, and the 94. Oh, he's not going to be able to hang on to this one. Christopher McCall's around. Big contact. Yellow flag is back out. Some of these guys hit hard. The 38 on the apron, Chad Ross, just now gets it rolling. Matthew Baker is involved, and the front end of that thing is destroyed. He's got no front bumper, no hood, and I can promise you that will be a fast repair. The 55, Mike Davenport, may have gotten a little damage. Jeff Merck, Steve Korosek, they get by. William H. Scott, the back end, also tore up. Christopher McCall, where this thing all started, he has damage as well. Let's go back and take a look at it. You saw the 94 try to save it. These guys got 4 wide, and you can almost, we saw the same thing on the first wreck where you can almost just tell the way these guys looked. They just didn't look very stable. It was almost like not a planned 4 wide as much as it was a surprise 4 wide, and it was just too chaotic for everybody to hold on. Let's see if we can get a better view of this here. So right here, 4x4, I think we're going to see a little contact. You see the 94's got the 18 squeeze. Garrett Maines. Oh, and let's back this up a little bit more. So you see they're already really tight. Christopher McCall trying to run his lane up top. Maybe he runs a little higher, but either way, Garrett Maines is trying to keep it off. You see, though, the 34, and I think this is ultimately where I would like to say this maybe starts. The 34 and the 11 are running about a quarter lane up from the bottom. And I don't think Christopher McCall knew that, because normally when you're 4 wide, everybody makes sure they run their lane perfect. 34 doesn't really go down, so once they get into the corner, he makes slight contact with Garrett Maines. That sends Garrett up into 94. Baker's able to keep it off Christopher McCall, but unfortunately, Chris just barely gets behind and is steering out into the outside wall pretty hard. Baker gets collected, and then it's on from here. Chad Ross gets turned back up into Matthew Baker. Wow, heavy hit for the 38. All 4 tires off the ground. Matthew Baker slides back down the track. And there you see the 167. Looks like he was also turned around in this ordeal. I'm just trying to find out. Oh, here we go. The 167 coming back up the track right in front of Steve Korosek, who just missed it, thankfully. But let's take one more view of this wreck. And this time, let's ride on board with Chad Ross, as it looked like he took a little bit of a wild ride in that 38 machine. Here we go. You saw it right there. Big hit. Flaps did come out, kept the car from going over, however, didn't keep it from going airborne. Let's go back live, though, up front. As it runs, Jason Maines now sitting first. Second, Garrett Maines. Third, Michael Triscaro. Fourth is going to be Kyler Wynn rounding out the top 5. Ken McCall Jr. from McCall Motorsports. That 34. Still, I call him a new driver, not as a new driver in general, but overall compared to the experience level of a lot of these guys in iRacing who have been on for 5, even 10 years, a couple of them, from what I've heard at least. Michael Triscaro's not even been on this game for a year, I don't believe. So that's just a little bit of that inexperience. Maybe not quite knowing that they were 4 wide just yet. Maybe he would have jumped down a little lower. Either way, though, tore some cars up. Ron Morris Jr. looks like he has some damage on the front end. Not sure if he still has a faster pair or not. If he does, though, we'll see if he decides to use it. If it's not engine damage, a lot of times you can get away with some front end damage as long as you play it safe in the draft. But if you try to get out in front, that front end damage, you are certainly going to notice it. And we will be hitting the halfway mark this next time. Pace car lights should go off as well. And it looks like currently still 18 cars on the lead lap. Mike Davenport sitting 1 lap down in the 55. Looks pretty cleaned up, though. All he needs to do right now is ride around. Hope for a caution, but that's going to depend on if Chad Ross is able to get out of the pits before that pace car does catch him. Chad, though, with quite a bit of damage as he was involved in that first wreck, and I'm thinking this 38 may not have another faster pair. And it is not looking like he's going to beat the pace car out. We'll watch it here from the pit cam. I think his day might be over. That would move Mike Davenport up. Let's talk about some of your biggest movers so far for this race. How about Ken McCall Jr. up 12 spots? So is Mark Von Dell. Some of the guys maybe going the opposite direction, at least for now. I think they'll make their way back up here because we certainly saw them at the front. Zachary Lima and Steve Korosek currently down 13 positions from where they started. Don't look to see that be the case for too long, though. And sure enough, Chad Ross still on pit lane, looking like his night is over. Oh, excuse me. No, he actually came off pit road. I'm not sure how I missed that. But yes, the 38 machine's got a lot of damage still. That back end, you see the spoiler on it. Not straight at all. That car not going to be too fast, I don't think. We'll have to see, though. I like what he's trying to do, though, here. Stay out. You never know what could happen. And we can actually check out his speeds right here to give you an idea of it. If you see it right there, 141. That car's hurting, and I think he's going to have to go back in. As you see, just barely reaching 4th gear. Not getting many RPMs in it at all, though. The leaders by themselves can run upwards of 170, even 180s. So Chad Ross not going to be able to keep pace with the field, even with the draft right now. He is going to need to get that thing damage repaired some more. And sure enough, there he goes. Takes another left turn, going to go back down pit road. Mike Davenport looking like he may be in prime position here for the lucky dog, assuming they run a couple laps before they get another caution. Everybody, let me note this, I guess, first. Everybody is good on fuel now. will not have to come into pit unless they choose to. Some of these guys further back, if we get a caution, I think they will pit for tires. And it looks like Mike Davenport does actually have some damage on the right rear, maybe a little bit on the right side of that car. Don't think it's going to affect him too bad, though. See what happened to some of these other guys that were involved in that wreck. Matthew Baker did have to use a fast spare, so he's going to have to be a little careful sitting here at 17th. William H. Scott. Steve Korosek was able to avoid it, but still further back. Christopher McCall, also another driver who had to use his fast repair. Chris, very aggressive, though. I think we'll easily see him trying to make his way back up here. And we'll see if these guys decide to calm down. I think they're going to go back at it, knowing that there is not another pit stop. A lot of money on the line, points. You want to get everything you can. Let's ride on board for this one. On the onboard, Kyler Wynn, and see if he can give Jason Maines the push he needs.
Green.
Green flag back out. Actually see a little bit damage on the rear end of that 16, but it looks like Michael Triscaro got the better restart for that second row. Watch down the backstretch though here. This is where it's going to get crucial. Gives him a little bump in the corner. Some of these guys that really know what they're doing will do that. They'll play with it if they need to. Kyler Wynn not afraid to get on the bumper of Garrett Maines. Knows he's a pro driver, knows how to get it done, and this is the payoff of it. Pushes Garrett Maines right to the lead. We'll see if Garrett decides to jump down or if he's going to try to block this top line. You can see he's trying to get Garrett to go low. Finally kind of forces him to. Drives right to the outside. Nice push in there by the 82. That's going to put David Sheets behind him. Both Maines back lined up. They're going to have Michael Triscaro third in line, and on the outside, here comes the 20, Jacob Emery and Jeff D. Merck. How about Jacob Emery? We haven't said too much about him, but he's been sneaking around. Stayed up here so far in the top 5, and these guys getting really, really wiggly all of a sudden. Zachary Lima, though, is going to jump back out of line, look for Steve Korosek to get right behind him. Looks like William H. Scott wants to join that train. Danny Eshelman involved in that incident earlier. He's back out here sitting in the back right now, though. He might be playing it conservative as well. We've seen a couple drivers playing that strategy, being involved in an incident early. Boy, these guys really, really moving around, especially closer to the front. Wanted to look real quick. Chad Ross looks like has unfortunately retired from the race. Mike Davenport looks like he may not be able to keep pace with the draft. He's certainly trying. We can ride with his dashboard real quick. 178, not going to be able to hold it unless he can get up there. William H. Scott, 187, 189. Let's go further up in the pack. Let's look at some of the speeds these guys are getting up to here. Kyler Wynn out in front, 190 in the short shoot down to turn 1. So these guys go pretty fast in these Xfinity cars. Just a little bit slower than the next gens in the pack. Runs not quite as quick, not quite as aggressive, but once you link up, you can certainly push for a while. Here we go, 3 wide. Jeff Merck is going to lead Ron Morris to the outside. We'll see if David Sheets thinks about jumping up with that group. Into turn 3. Here we go. 06, sure enough, jumps to the top right in front of the 24. That's Brandon Broadfoot. Kyler Wynn's going to try to block. That does shuffle David Sheets out of line. We'll see if his teammate Ron Morris Jr. stays up top. He's going to get help now from Jeff Merck, but on the bottom, it's still Jason and Garrett Mates now. Jason Mates jumps up to the middle line. He's going to get a push here from Kyler Wynn. Nope, Kyler trying to take it 3 wide on Jason. Jason slams the door on him. That backs both of those drivers up to Brandon Broadfoot. And you see Kyler Wynn, he's going to push him clear, and if Jason doesn't want to go down, he's going to force him to sooner or later. Up top, they've gotten linked up. David Sheets getting help now from Ron Morris Jr. with a little damage on the front. Danny Eshelman and Christopher McCall. Six laps left here at Talladega on the Tuesday Night Thunder Series. Guys, 3x3. Seems like different nights. We kind of see different forms of racing. Tonight has been one for the books and a very aggressive one. We might be in for one of those photo finishes with the way these guys have been going at it tonight. And as I say that, before things get any crazier, let's do a TNT, crank it up. Here we go. Contact, and we got another wreck here on lap 35. Big hits again. The 6 slides up. Kyler Wynn looks like maybe he held on to it, but the 76 Ron Morse Jr. has pretty big damage. A lot of guys were collected in this one. You saw it there during our Crank It Up segment. Looked like there was some slight contact with a 24 Brandon Broadfoot, and I couldn't tell who it was that we were riding on board with. The 06 of David Sheets. That thing is also all torn up. He's going to need a fast repair. Let's go see what happens to bring out your 4th caution of the night. And you see they're already wrecked here. So we're going to back this thing up a little bit more. Let's try TV2. Let's see if this gives us a good view of what initially went wrong here. Oh, and it looks like it's going to be something that's going to start here with Kyler Wynn and Brandon Broadfoot. Let's take a look at the blimp cam. That's a little far. About Chopper. Here we go. Let's see what initiates this contact. 24 Brandon Broadfoot slides up. Slides right into the 82. That gets the 82's left rear off the ground. Puts him up into the wall. You see him getting out of it, trying to save it. Loses it, though. Is going to get, maybe saves it, but gets a little bit more contact here from David Sheets. David Sheets, 27. Steve Korsak misses it. It looks like everybody's saving it right now. David Sheets, though, goes up to try to miss it. Gets contact with his teammate Ron Morse Jr. They both make pretty heavy contact with the wall, and now it's on. David Sheets coming back down the track here is going to make contact. It looks like, oh, just clips Danny Eshelman, who almost sneaked by the 167. The 5, Matthew Baker sliding in. Wow, it looks like the 5 did a monster truck move over the hood of that 5 machine. The 94, Christopher McCall, looks like just slides into the wall. Shouldn't be anything too severe. The 82 of Kyler Wynn is able to hold onto it for the most part. Danny Eshelman sliding up into the wall. Let's ride on board here with Matthew Baker. I'm not sure how he fared through this ordeal. Looks like that 5 machine does have some damage, so I'm thinking maybe not too well. But let's take a look. You see the wreck's already happened here, so we'll back it up a little bit more. Oh, and that's one of the worst ways to go. It looked like Matthew Baker was going to sneak through. Unfortunately, got tagged from behind, and then it was nothing he could really do after that point. Let's take a ride on board with one more driver here. And I think I want to ride on board with Kyler Wynn so we can see. Actually, let's ride on board here with William H. Scott instead, as we kind of got an idea of what happened to Kyler. Let's see the 167 trying to get through this. Yikes, and that is going to be the driver that tagged Matthew Baker. Looks like he was trying to get through it. I think some of these guys maybe forget sometimes in the heat of the moment, and I know why they're doing it. Remember, they can use pit road to escape a crash, even if they're going down at 200 miles an hour. If they are doing it to escape a crash, they're allowed to go down there. Unfortunately, its side, the double-edged sword, if you will, of that is if you go down pit road, they can clear black flags. Unfortunately, though, iRacing does make you go to the back, and I think a lot of these guys were trying to avoid that, and that was what kept them from going down pit road. Because I think if they do that, Matthew Baker maybe escapes from the 167, and the 167 maybe escapes from running into anybody there, but they just all try to get back up on the track at the wrong time. Contact was made. The rest was history, and now it's going to be 24 laps to go. Things starting to get a little bit out of hand here for the moment. Not in a bad way, just these guys all getting really aggressive all of a sudden. We have seen it all night, so I shouldn't be surprised. Michael Triscaro currently sitting in first. Second, it's going to be Garrett Maines third. Ken McCall Jr. fourth. Jason Maines, and here he is, top 5. We said we thought he'd have a good night. So far, so good. Hoping it stays that way for Mark Von Dell. Driver out of the McCall Motorsports camp. Looks like Baker's mom says Baker may be out, and I would agree. I take that back. I don't think Baker will necessarily be out. Let's take a look at him. Here he is. You see he's got some significant rear damage. Not sure just how bad it is on the front. We'll check his dashboard speeds here. 172. It's not the speeds you want to be seeing. Not sure if he had enough time, though, to get that thing fully cranked up. So we'll have to see, as he is catching the pack right here. The draft will help him out, of course. Sometimes if you have too much damage, you can't even stick with the draft. Looking at his cockpit view right here. Ooh, maybe showing a little displeasure with the 167 right there. Couldn't exactly tell. Let's see if... Couldn't tell exactly what that was. Yeah, not too sure there. Either way, I'm sure even if it wasn't a display of that, Baker not too happy with the 167. Knows he would have got through that wreck, got tagged by him. Sometimes part of it. But as I was going to initially say, it doesn't look like the damage in his front on his hood is too bad. I'd be more worried about the back end of this car. Mike Davenport still sitting in pit road. Brandon Broadfoot, and you see it from his cockpit view here. We can actually look at it from the nose. Pretty banged up. That car not going to be very easy to push. But when these things come down to the end of these races, sometimes you don't have to be the cleanest car. You just have to be the car that can make it through the big wreck. David Sheets on the outside. Looks like he was able to get that car fixed up, at least in the back. And we are going to be going green this time. Let's see how the front of David Sheets' car is looking. Couldn't see it from that angle. Ooh, looks like he is pretty banged up, though, in the front. Back has a little bit of damage as well. So I don't think that 06 machine is going to be too fast. A lot of these guys now with damage, they don't have a faster pair 4 anymore. And we'll see how it all pans out. We saw Mike Davenport sitting on the apron. See if he is able to get back out here. It looks like he may have been. Sure enough, there he is in the 55, still out here hustling. Chad Ross, of course, has retired. Mike Davenport, though, on the lead lap. So that means we still have 18 of the 19 cars on the lead lap. Only one not is, of course, Chad Ross, who we just said is out of the race. Pace car, though, is going to pull off Michael Triscaro. Garrett Maines going to lead the charge to green. Row 2 is going to be Ken McCall Jr., Jason Maines. And row 3 is going to be Mark Vondell and Jacob Emery. We'll see what happens. It's going to be 22 laps to go. Starting to get down to the end of this thing. Drivers starting to sense that money a little bit more. Patience starting to run out. Whatever give and take we've had tonight is slowly turning into all take. Green flag is back out. Really, really good restart here from Garrett Maines by himself on the outside. It's going to jump right down in front of the 34, Michael Triscaro. Further back, everybody already shuffling for positions. Looks like Jason Maines is going to be able to hop down in front of Mark Vondell. And 3 by 3 further back, Steve Korosek, Zachary Lima have found each other. That's going to be a dangerous duo. Up top further back, looks like Jacob Emery is leading Jeff Merck, Ron Morris Jr. Here we go. Jason Maines is going to jump out of line. We'll see if Garrett Maines chooses to jump up top to help him. Stays down low, but look who's getting aggressive. He wants to win. Mark Vondell, here he is, second on the outside line. Going to try to push Jason Maines up to the front. The 34, Michael Triscaro, coming off a win last week. Does he think about trying to go to the top? How about the 03, Ken McCall Jr.? Knows he's got Mark Vondell not too far behind him, but it looks like that 11 is starting to fade right now, not making the progress he thought. And we see 3 wide further back, Zachary Lima, Steve Korosek, Jeff Merck. Looks like he thought about 4 wide for a minute, thinks better of it. Still 3 by 3 into turn 1. That middle lane just doesn't have the help they need, but I'll tell you what, it looks like Matthew Baker, so far at least, able to keep up. Ken McCall Jr. jumped up, thought he'd make contact, doesn't. Gets right back behind the 34. Garrett Maines still leading the field. Oh, we got one off pretty quick. Right, that was William H. Scott. Oh, they're all turned around wrecking. We got a couple more guys in this one. Kyler Wynn. Oh, big hit for the 24 into the inside wall. The 76, Ron Morse Jr. escapes. William H. Scott, Mike Davenport. No caution somehow. And these guys are still racing it out up front. 3 wide. Very shocked that we did not see a caution just then. Jason Maines, Garrett Maines get clear on the bottom. Zachary Lima, Steve Korosek on the top. And I'll tell you what, that might ruin a lot of people's race if somehow we don't get a caution. Let's go back and take a look at it. Not sure why we didn't get the caution from it. Saw a bunch of guys start piling in here. You see there goes William H. Scott, but that's not where this is going to start. Looking around for where the initial contact is. Everybody's spreading out. Oh, Mark Vondell just a little bit out of line. Gets into Steve Korosek. That shoots him back down. Oh, it gets into his teammates. The 03 and the 94 know where they could go. And it's on from here. You see the 94 spinning the 59 down low. Maybe we should, more importantly, go to Ken McCall Jr. Some of these other guys that we saw nowhere to go. I mean, they are clearly wrecking on the track right here. I'm very surprised this is not a caution. William H. Scott, maybe for the best he got struck. Yeah, boom, 59 down to his teammates. Ken McCall Jr. up into Jeff Merck pretty hard. Still spinning down the track. It's going to collect a couple more. It looks like maybe just Alt F forward or something right at the end there. I'm not exactly so sure. Gets himself to pit road, though. Mark Vondell Brandon Broadfoot, everybody trying to get up to speed here. They're all destroyed. And that was a very interesting one. So let's go back live though now. So, yep, caution has not come out. And these guys, I think, understand that. And they're going to line up because what we got right now, only one of these top 6 are going home empty-handed. They have all found themselves with a chance to get money, except for one right now. That would be Jacob Emery. He currently is sitting just outside a paid position. Let's go back while we're watching these guys single file and take a look. You see the track map from that incident. Oh, and yellow flag is now out. Looks like Ken McCall Jr. was just maybe involved in another incident, or no. I'm not exactly sure on this one. We'll have to take a look. I'm getting a report that it was Ken McCall Jr. Let's see if this is true. And it looks like Ken spins it back up onto the track right there, so we'll ride on board with him. Kind of a weird night here in iRacing. I'm not really sure what to say about it, but let's ride on board with Ken here. So maybe downshifted. Ride on board with it here. That was really interesting. Not all too sure how to say it. He didn't really just turn the wheel. Oh, wow. That's very interesting because you see he never turned the wheel right. Nothing intentional. I would never accuse something intentional because it didn't look like it here. Very odd. I'll have to figure out what exactly happened after the race here. This is weird looking. Watch. Let's go one more time on his cockpit view here. You see he's got it turned to the left here, and actually I'll tell you what, he's going straight and his steering's already offset. Sometimes that's the way these Xfinity cars work. It never really looked like it redlines here. Watch the RPMs, watch the hands. You see he's going a little bit left here, tries to get it straight and it just loses it. You see it holding around 6. He's got the wheel turned too, trying to keep it off, just kind of spins out. He's got that wheel all the way left, and it is still going towards the wall. Boom, contact with the wall right here. You'll see. It's going to be a pretty close call there with, I believe that's Danny Eshelman, who looks like he's able to just barely dodge him. Oh, that's actually the 24, Brandon Broadfoot. Very close call. But that was a different one. The initial look, you would have thought maybe some intent, but knowing the veteran Ken McCall Jr. would never do something of that sort. Looked like some very odd thing. I have just not seen that before with the Xfinity car, but saw it there, had the wheel turned to the left. Looked like it started to spin. He turned it more to the left, and it just kept going to the right. So not sure, but either way, it brings out the 5th caution of the night. Up front now is going to be Garrett Maines. 2nd is going to be Jason Maines. 3rd, Michael Triscaro. 4th, Jacob Emery. And rounding out the top 5, trying to recover from an early incident, is Danny Eshelman, but that thing looks pretty beat up. I will say a lot of these guys very grateful to see that caution no matter what, because they know that without it, they were all automatically pretty much guaranteed out of the money they needed to get one to have a chance. And a chance is all you need at these plate tracks, and a lot of them are going to get it, but we also have so many guys that are just beat up and destroyed at this part of the race. Mark Vondell looks like he got that thing cleaned up. He's going to go for it again here, but Matthew Baker's sitting on pit road. I don't necessarily think his night's over. I think he's just maybe sitting here for some repairs right now. Sure enough, here he comes. Ken McCall Jr. on the other hand, that thing doesn't look all that beat up, but he is sitting on pit road, and you can see through the cockpit the driver is not in it. So he may have also retired for the night. Garrett Maines and Jason Maines, teammates. We'll see if they try to hold each lane, if they're going to try to drop down in front of each other. It is going to be a 14-lap shootout. As you see, the pace car lights are still on. We should get the one to go next time. Bearing nothing strange, of course. We want to thank everybody for being here. Of course, if you are just joining in, we've had 5 cautions so far here tonight. One of them was for the stage break. Been a little bit of an interesting night. Great racing, though, nonetheless. We have seen 3 4-wide action I know we had been seeing a lot of 4 wide in the Dash for the Cash Series, but we hadn't saw much of it here in RMR Tuesday Night Thunder. But all of a sudden tonight, these guys have came to life. They're ready to go. And they have been going for it since the drop of the green. Top 5 payout tonight. There are points, though, that go towards the end of the season, and the winner of the championship is going to be getting a lot of money on top of the weekly payouts that are given. Like we said, top 5. There will also be more money up for grabs for that championship race. A couple more exciting events. Ron Morris Jr. talked about hosting an event that he was calling the High Roller, I believe. From what I've heard, something along the lines of a $250 buy-in, which I know sounds like a lot, because don't get me wrong, it sure is. But the idea behind it, some of these guys that we know race in real life, costs over $1,000 to get yourself in the gate, to have a chance in a late model car. The prize pool for this race that he's hosting, though, $250. The winner would go home with over $2 grand. Second place over $1 grand. So on and so forth. A lot of money would be given out. But working on that now, trying to get it in the books. We'll see how it all pans out. If you have been watching so far tonight, we thank you for being here, choosing Ghost Racing Network. Like what you're seeing, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Give us a follow. Just hit 500 today. Can't thank you all enough. I know I've mentioned this before, but some of these guys' paint schemes, this is how I remember who's who a lot of times. Don't really look at the numbers as much unless it's some of the new guys. Garrett Main's Xfinity card just for some reason reminds me of the Bazooka Bubblegum, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. Of course, his is not Bazooka, it is the Sim Seats. That's kind of what it reminds me of on his outside, of course, the Elliott Sadler Esports paint scheme for Jason Main's. Pretty easy one to remember. And I think the one that might be easiest for me to remember, at least at the moment, this guy right here. And if you want to know why, there you go. Take a look. Ghost Racing Network, Team PGR. Giving us a minor sponsor here. We certainly appreciate it. Ghost Racing Network running the Ghost Racing Network logo on the back. That beautiful Pacey Gray Racing paint scheme. Enough chit chat. Pace car rolling out of 4. These guys getting ready to get back to business. And you think it can't get any crazier, you might want to hold your breath. Because let me tell you, with 14 laps to go, the race is on. Michael Triscaro got beat a little bit on the last restart. We'll see if he can do a better job pushing Garrett Maines this time around. What can Jacob Emery do? First time up here in the top 4. Green flag is back out. When you see the stack up on that outside, but it looks like maybe going to work out for the better. Garrett Maines right now is going to get clear. 3 wide already. Steve Korsak, Zachary Lima been trying so hard to get back to the front. Where they were so dominant earlier, haven't been able to get up there. We've just had crash after crash when they tried to. We'll see if Kyler Wynn maybe thinks about going with them. Sure enough, the 82 jumps right in front. Garrett Maines also jumps to the outside in front of Jason Maines. That opens it up to Michael Triscaro on the bottom. I think he's trying to pull his dad and teammate to the front with him so they can both drop down low. They can't do it, though. Kyler Wynn's going to get shuffled out by Steve Korsak and Zachary Lima. Kyler maybe not so sure what happened right now. I think he thought for sure those two would want to go with him. As we know, usually 3 cars makes a lot more headway than 2. But Danny Eshelman, even with some damage, is managing to keep Michael Triscaro up here for now. But how long is that going to last? If Jason and Garrett both get cleared, do they decide to drop low? Do they stay high? Where's the third lane going to come from? We're going to find out. 13 laps now at Talladega. Garrett Maines, there he goes, drops back down low into turn 1. That leaves Jason up top with Jacob Emery. And Steve Korsak, Zachary Lima. Here we go, back to the outside. Only 2 cars right now. Will anybody go with him? Kyler Wynn got shuffled out of the last one, thinking maybe he doesn't want to help these guys now. And that is certainly what it looks like. Looks like maybe you're getting a little side draft. You got to remember, you need friends at these super speedways. And I don't think Kyler Wynn wants to be those two's friend right now, but we'll have to see how it progresses. They're still working on the outside, and Kyler Wynn is going to accept the chance at making more progress. Goes to the outside. Garrett Maines back up top with Jason Maines. They're getting really packed up in that middle. Here comes the run from Steve Korsak and Zachary Lima all the way to the front into turn 1. Not quite able to get clear. Look at the damage on the 76, still pushing hard. Jason Maines, the only car up here without any front end damage. Zachary Lima still pushing hard in the 27. They're going to be going by the lap car. Couldn't tell who it was. Looks like it might be William H. Scott Jr. Lap car going to stay on the bottom as they go by. Now Garrett Mange jumps back down the bottom. It looks like it was actually Ken McCall Jr. Yep, sure enough, Ken back out on track. Unfortunately, 6 laps down. Him and Chad Ross out of this race, but Ken may still be able to help a teammate. That's why he is still in here. Garrett Mange, meanwhile, still holding the middle. Michael Triscaro on the bottom. Steve Korosek up top. And Danny Eshelman and Ron Morris Jr., both with pretty significant damage to the front of those machines, are still holding that 34 out in front. Ford, Chevy. And with 10 laps to go next time, will we see anybody think about 4 wide? Kyler Wynn has got back down the middle. We've seen it be a little indecisive. Matthew Baker back up here. Christopher McCall back up to the top lane. Mark Von Dell going to tuck in as well. Further back, we see William H. Scott, David Sheets, those both damaged cars. Jeff Mark as well. They're just sitting back right now, hoping these guys all pile up to give them a chance. But everybody is 3 by 3 right now. Not a lot of room. Don't want to make a mistake. Right on board here. One of these guys back in the pack. We go out. Kylo Wynn in the middle of this hornet's nest. Nothing he can do right now except ride. Hope these guys can all get out in front. It looks like a couple guys got clear in front of Garrett Mange, who jumped in front of Michael Triscaro. Will Jason Maines think about dropping low? Steve Korosek still up top. He's not going to realize that would have took the advantage away from the top. Smartly stays in the middle. Michael Triscaro gives another big push back to that 34 machine. Kyler Wynn right now just looking for somewhere to go. He's not able to find it. We did put out a vote. If you guys said we'd go green from here, we didn't, even though 66% of you said no, you were correct. Up top, Steve Korosek, Zachary Lima were pushing and pushing. They weren't able to get it done. I think maybe they're going to have to back off here for a couple laps. Let those engine temps cool down. We'll have to see. The Red Bull machine and the 27 Snap-on machine still trying to get to the front, but with Garrett and Jason in control, they're going to be a hard duo to beat. Ooh, you saw Kyler Wynn try to squeak in right under the 20. Couldn't quite do it. Jacob Emery slammed the door. Oh, there's some contact now. Here we go, another wreck. The 12 into the wall. The 27, Steve Korosek spins. Yellow flag is back out. Oh, William H. Scott not able to get it woed up. The 82 through the grass. The 27, Steve Korosek gets it rolling now. Oh, and I heard even more contact further back. Looks like maybe Jeff Merck may have squeaked through it. I couldn't tell. And that looked like the 20 coming up the track made contact. And our 6th caution of the night has flown. Let's see where this is going to start. It looks like this started with Jacob Emery, but it looked like Steve Korosek was also involved in it. So let's take a look at Steve Korosek here first and see if we can figure out just exactly what happens here. Let's try this from TV1. Right here, look at the 20 up the track. Boom, contact may have been netcode, but either way, comes up the track. The 12, Zachary Lima, who is trying so hard to push Steve Korosek up to the front, is unfortunately going to make contact. Is the 27 going to scoot by this? Oh, he's not. He was so close. Kyler Wynn, though, trying to hang on to it. It's going to make contact with him. That sends him sideways. And then they're going to start piling in here. Pretty big hit from the 94 into the side of the 82. Mark Von Dell, nowhere to go. Let's back this up a little bit more. Take a look. Zachary Lima looked like who had got potentially the worst damage out of this. Let's see how he fared out of this once it gets started. Yep, just hits his teammate. Wasn't able to slow down in time once it started happening. Boom, down the track. Here we go. Watch this hit by the 12. Big shot into that outside safer barrier. Looks like Mark Von Dell was trying to avoid it. Was able to miss the initial down into Matthew Baker. Actually, Baker may have just squeaked by it, it looks like. And then up front, looks like a 3-car pileup. Steve Korosek, Kyler Wynn, and Mark Von Dell. Oh, the 5, Matthew Baker gets into it right there. Nowhere to go. And then William H. Scott looked like never really slowed down too much right here. Piled in pretty hard. It's right on board here with William in that 167 car. He was pretty far back. See it there, wasn't able to get checked up too much because of that. Pretty big contact, more contact than he would have had being as far back as he was. Top 5 after that caution. The 16 of Garrett Mange still leading the charge is outside. Jason Maines Michael Triscaro third. Jacob Emery still fourth. Danny Eshelman in fifth. But we are seeing more and more guys slowly starting to retire from this race. Surprisingly enough, we only have 2 guys who I would say are considered out of it right now. Ken McCall Jr. did get the lucky dog, so he's going to go from 6 to 5 laps down. And I'm not going to count him out just yet. We'll have to see if anyone else goes a lap down. If they don't, this thing starts to get even more crazy than it's been so far. Maybe he somehow finds a way to get back on that lead lap. William H. Scott sitting in the pits right now. I think that 167 machine is done for the night. Kyler Wynn, it's like he has also retired from the race. Zachary Lima, I thought Zach would have a faster pair. Will be maybe not. We'll see if he's able to get back out here. Mark Von Dell, of course, already used a fast pair, so his night might be over. Matthew Baker, that thing's all torn up. Looks like his night is over. Christopher McCall has damage, but he's able to get it back going. Jeff Merck, heavy damage to the right front. David Sheets, Steve Korosek. Steve, maybe, looks like, sure enough, did just use his faster pair. 55, Mike Davenport. Pretty good damage, but after these wrecks, manages to get himself back up into 8th place. Ron Morris Jr. with front-end damage was still pushing solidly, though. 24, Brandon Broadfoot. And then your top 5, Danny Eshelman, Jacob Embry, both with damage. Jason Maines, I thought, even had a little bit on the front. And I think, yep, looks like he does. So, tell you what, it looks like the 34 and the 27 may be the only cars on the track right now with no scratches on their car. Of course, the 34 does not have a faster pair remaining, so if he gets in any incident, his night is going to be over. Steve Korosek, same ordeal. At this point, I think you got to go for it. Looking to see the pace car lights go off this time. It should be the white flag. We will, of course, be trying to get interviews with your top 3 at the end of this thing. And if we get another caution, we will be doing an in-race interview. I have been meaning to do some more, though. Sometimes, though, it gets a little chaotic with replays and stuff. We just don't find the time to. It looks like we're going to see another coordinated restart here from Jason and Garrett Maines. As you see, Garrett's going to go on the top this time, Jason on the bottom. And I think we're going to watch those two let each other right in line. Oh, Michael Triscaro jumps back down to the bottom. I think he was more focused on who he was pushing last time. That was, of course, Garrett Maines. If you're just tuning in, it's going to be a 5-lap shootout at Talladega in the Tuesday Night Thunder Series. Garrett Maines, Jason Maines, row 1. Michael Triscaro, Jacob Emery, row 2. And Danny Eshelman and Brandon Broadfoot, row 3. But at this point, if you're out on track, you got a chance. Kyler Wynn, you see it on your scoring tower. He is out of the race. Zachary Lima and William Scott also still in the pits. Ken McCall Jr. is up here, but he's 5 laps down. And we will see if these two can finish off the job. Been dominant late here. They had a pretty good challenge from the duo of Zachary Lima and Steve Korosek early, but once those two have gotten separated now, we'll have to see what Steve can do without his drafting buddy in Zachary Lima, who is still sitting on pit road. Looks like Zachary's day might be wrapped up. Mark Von Dell's got a lot of damage, but he's still going to be out here. Jeff Merck, David Sheets. Jeff Merck, go to his cockpit view here real quick. You see it here. Actually, looks like this thing's a little cleaned up all of a sudden. But you see it from this view. That right front's got a little hole in the right front hood. That is slowing him down a little bit, especially out front. So we'll have to see how fast this 60 machine is. David Sheets. Car looks cleaned up. He may have also used his faster pair. Sure enough, he did. He knows it's go time. If you have a clean car right now, knowing that there's probably only about 5 cars at most with no damage, you got a good chance at getting in the money. But here we go. Pace car is going to pull off. Will this be the final restart? It's right on board here with Jason Maines. See the kind of push he can get here from Michael Triscaro in the 34. We'll switch in between him and Garrett. That is where all the speed's going to come from. I think they might coordinate something, though. Let's actually ride with Garrett here to start into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out. 5 laps to go at Talladega. Here we go. Garrett Maines gets a big jump. Looks like this time, though, sure enough, Jason Maines is going to let him down right in front of him. Those two are going to try to drive back up together. That opens outside up to the 20. Jacob Emery. He's going to have the 24. Brandon Broadfoot. What can they do? Also, how long before we see 3 wide? Who makes the move first? Looks like right now the bottom is where everybody's bailing to. Up top now, only 3 cars. It's the 20 of Jacob Emery, Brandon Broadfoot, and Steve Korosek. Looks like they're making a little bit of headway, though, here down the backstretch. The rest of the field, Ken McCall Jr. looks like was not able to keep the draft. Neither is Matthew Baker. They're hoping these guys all pile up on that last lap. Remember, if we take the white flag under green, we will finish the race under green. No more cautions once we get there. We are going to have 4 more laps before we get to that point. Jason Maines jumps to the top. Looks like he is going to start getting racy about it. The 24 is a little bit swervy. Brandon Broadfoot keeps it together. Michael Triscaro pushing Garrett Maines. Jacob Emery pushing Jason Maines. Still side by side. That outside doesn't look like it has as much speed as it did earlier. I think we might see the 3 wide from Brandon Broadfoot. Sure enough, here it is. Steve Korosek has different ideas. He's thinking the low lane. Jacob Emery had to make sure he didn't get himself 4 wide. Jumps back down to the middle. That's going to now shuffle the 24 all the way to the back. David Sheets hanging around in the back. Ooh, looks like Garrett Maines did decide to jump back in front of his dad, Jason Maines. Further back, some blocking going on between Christopher McCall and the 24, Brandon Broadfoot. Jeff Merck in line. Danny Eshelman. Can he keep the 34 out in front for 3 more laps? Steve Korosek's going to try to force the middle on the 20 if Jacob Emery can't do it. If that would have been the finish, it would have went to Garrett Maines on the outside. We'll see if Garrett decides to drop back down low, especially if him and his dad could somehow finish 1-2. And you see the 11 able to push the 16 in the corners. Not working out quite as well in the turns, but I think it's going to help a lot down the straightaway right here. We'll have to find out. They are still side by side. 3 wide now. Jeff Merck, Christopher McCall, they're ready to go. Steve Korosek wasn't able to jump out in time. And we will see if we have any other takers, whether that be the 20 of Jacob Emery or potentially Jason Maines. Thinking about blocking, going up a 3rd lane because now the 34 and the 6 get clear. Will Danny Eshelman think about making a move? He doesn't. Michael Triscaro thought about throwing a block, couldn't quite do it there. Tucks back down low, contact. Oh, the 6 is around. David Sheets slides. Looks like he keeps it mostly together. Nice save by the 06. But big contact to the back of that machine, and that is going to affect him at least a little bit. Actually, being in the back, we have seen this before. Damage doesn't hurt too bad, but let's check out this save that brings out the 7th yellow of the night here by the 06 of David Sheets. Coming to the travel here. Oh, he's going to get a bump from Brandon Broadfoot. That sends him up into the 20, Jacob Emery. And how about the save as well from Jacob Emery? Getting punted in the travel like that is no easy task. But you see David Sheets is going to lock it down here. Lets it roll backwards. Keeps it from going back up the track. Spins it around. Locks it down here. Let's see if he runs into the Ghost pace car. It looks like doesn't quite. Pace car maybe got a little nervous there, though, for a second. Let's take a ride on board, though, with David Sheets through that wreck. See what he watched. Let's see if we can feel him get punted here. I think you kind of see what happened there. It looked like just a big stack-up effect that initially caused that. And that's what can happen at these super speedways. Everybody gets checked up, and it looks like everybody catching the pace car here. Very slow and methodical. This time, Brandon Broadfoot as well. And there is the pace car. So this is a little different. We'll have to see how everything pans out. Pit road. I think they were waiting on the pace car. That's what I think was happening. I think Garrett Maines and them were waiting on the pace car, actually. Zachary Lima still sitting in the pits, though. And unfortunately, I thought Ken McCall Jr. would maybe be the car to get his lap back from this one. I think it is going to be Mike Davenport, though. The 55, as he is currently 2 laps down. It is going to be our first overtime now at Talladega. Your top 5, not much really changed here, but there's a couple things, so we'll go over it again. Garrett Maines still first. Second, though, is going to be Michael Triscaro. Third, Danny Eshelman. Jason Maines has fallen to 4th this time. And rounding out the top 5, Ron Morris Jr. in the 76. Some of these guys, all of a sudden, fuel may be becoming a concern. It wasn't earlier. But with these guys having not pit for a little while, they're going to maybe start thinking about fuel just a little bit all of a sudden. Triscaro Garrett Maines rolling on the apron right now. I think they're waiting for the pace car still. Danny Eshelman as well. Jason Maines, Ron Morris Jr., Jacob Emery, Steve Korosek, Brandon Broadfoot, Jeff Merck. And here you go. There's the pace car making its way down the backstretch. And I'll tell you what, let's see if we can get an interview here from, let's go check in on Michael Triscaro. See how he's doing in that 34 machine. All right, and we are here now with Michael Triscaro, currently sitting second on the board. Michael, you got a copy?
I got a copy, man.
Well, you're coming off a lot of momentum with your first win last week. What is it going to take, though, here to beat the pro driver Garrett Maines to get your second win in the Tuesday Night Thunder Series?
Dude, you know, it's going to take a lot. Him and I are actually talking on the other radio, so it's been fun. I think he's respecting me a lot tonight, running with him and his dad, man. This is just awesome to run with this guy and learn a lot from him, and I've beaten him in the line a few times, so it's pretty fun, man. We're having a blast out here.
All right, well, it looks like you don't have your other teammate right now. Mike Davenport currently 2 laps down further back. Is there anyone else that you're looking for to work with right now? We've seen you in the 6 working good together.
Yeah, Danny's pushing me pretty well. He was overheating a little bit, so he's trying to figure out backing off or not, but I've been egging him on, man. Get me, because these Maines boys are going to be tough to beat, but we're going to give them a hell on this last restart here.
All right, well, thank you. Good luck, and hopefully we're talking to you at the end of this thing.
Love to hear it, man. Talk soon.
We'll let him get back to his radio chatter as he is getting ready for what is going to be one of the biggest restarts of the whole race, potentially the last restart of the race. Michael Triscaro doing a really good job here. Just got his sim rig finished up. And this is almost, I feel like we could do a whole segment on this, on some of these guys' sim rigs. I mean, these guys have things that look nicer than some of the real life race cars. I'm talking some of these guys have spent over $5,000 on a sim rig. And I mean, these things are crazy. I'm talking 3 or 4 monitors, seats that moves, steering wheels that work just the same as the ones in real life. It gets absolutely crazy. Of course, I'm just sitting here with my school-provided desk chair and Logitech wheel. But man, it'd certainly be fun to get some of the things these guys have. Some of the way some of them can afford it is by winning races like these tonight. Get some extra money, save it up. We will see if Michael Triscaro can go back-to-back. Garrett Maines going to have his dad and teammate, though, Jason Maines behind him. That now is going to be the most dangerous duo of the rest of the race if they weren't already. And they're going to be lined up, and I think if they can both take the lead, we might see them try to split both lanes so they can both come home 1-2. Of course, they do split the money, though. With that being the case, they just work as one unit, so we'll see what happens. Either way, though, rolling into the Geico restart zone for our first overtime. If we take the white flag, no more cautions. Here we go, Michael Triscaro, Garrett Maines. Green flag is back out at Talladega. Big push on that outside line. Danny Eshelman didn't get a good restart. Garrett Maines gets clear. We'll see if Jason Maines can also get clear. Here comes Steve Korosek. And unfortunately for Michael Triscaro, falling back in a hurry, tries to squeeze up top. That's not going to work either. Jason Maines, Garrett Maines, both able to drop low. Steve Korosek with no help, and you just see it. Not that many undamaged cars left in the field. Not a lot of guys to really get going. It's going to take them at least a lap to all get up to speed. And in that lap, Jason Maines, Garrett Maines are trying to pull away from the field. Further back, we see a couple guys battling. Now the 94 Christopher McCall. He's got his teammate David Sheets. Can they catch Danny Eshelman, Steve Korosek? I think he wants to make a move, but he knows he doesn't really have much help. Him and Michael Triscaro might have to work together. That 27 jumped to the outside. Now the 34 is also going to jump up top. Steve Korosek abandons that, jumps back down low. Danny Eshelman going to stick with him, though. Here we go. White flag in the air one more time. Both mains still lined up nicely up top. Danny Eshelman, Michael Triscaro. I think that 27 is going to jump up. He's got to hurry up and slam the door, though. If he waits too late, he may not have a chance at it. Field all stacked up now all of a sudden. Here we go. Garrett Maines going to take the risk. Jumps to the top. He wants to block any chance at a run. Jason Maines now leading the field. Steve Korsak trying everything he can to push clear so he can maybe jump to the outside. He does. He gets clear. So does the 94. This is going to be a race at a turn 4. Who decides to jump high? Jason Maines still leading the 27. Steve Korsak. Here we go. Into the tri-oval. When's the move going to come? The 27 still stays tucked in line. No move just yet. Out back the 60 spins. The 27 still stays tucked in line. Now he jumps out of line. Is it going to be enough? It's not. Jason Maines wins at Talladega. Holds him off for the last lap. 27 tries to make a run. It's not enough. And your winner of the third race in Thursday Night Thunder Series in the RMR Money Racing is going to be Jason Maines, Road to Pro driver. You see why right there. Garrett Maines comes home third after he tried to hold on to that outside. So at worst, only really lost one position from it. No big net loss there. Good teamwork, though, either way from the 11 and 16. And we are going to get interviews from your top 3. So while they're getting around here, we're going to go try to find them and drag them in here. All right, and I have found at least 2 of your top 3 right now, so we are going to go a little bit out of order, but we can start with your third place finisher tonight, Garrett Maines. Garrett, you got a copy. We will try him one more time here. He still might be busy. Your third place finisher, Garrett Maines. Garrett, you got a copy.
He's muted. Let's see if he's in here. Hey, Garrett, they're trying to talk to you. Austin.
All right, looks like we do have him this time. Garrett Maines, Garrett, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, you come home third. Your dad and teammate gets the win, though. What more did you need to maybe have a chance at the win or second there at the end?
Oh, this was just a spicy conversation. I don't know, some communication. I called, let's go high off the corner so we could go defensive, and he starts to go high. He says okay, and then he hangs me out. So I was like, what the heck? But I'm glad he was still able to pull it off. I thought for sure he was going to get hung out after that, but he was able to stay in line, and then I got the side draft off McCullough there, so nobody really formed an outside run. Got lucky there. Thought that was about to fall apart for us, but thankfully we were able to still get 1-3 there.
Well, congrats on that third place finish. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Yeah, I got to give a huge shout out to MCU Body and Lennox for all their support. Definitely was so close to pulling one off for him tonight, but oh well.
All right, thank you. That is your third place finisher, Garrett Maines. We are going to go to your winner now. We will try to find Steve Korsak, your second place finisher after, but let's talk about the man of the hour, Jason Maines. Jason, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, it sounds like your teammate there said maybe a little break in communication. Either way, though, you got it done. You got the win. How'd you do it there at the end?
Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely got lucky. I made some good moves in the race, and I made some poor moves in the race. Pretty tired, and at the beginning of the race, I wasn't on my game, and at the end of the race, we definitely had a plan, and I kind of mucked it up. I thought when we went up off the corner, I feel like if I moved up, I was going to turn him because I was getting such a push from Steve, and then I just bailed on him underneath him, and that's on me. But I'm glad he got back to third. I pushed him to a lot of wins and try to do everything I can to get him in first all the time. So tonight, it was the other way around, but wasn't meant to be that way. But definitely appreciate racing with him. That's why I do this anyway. And then with Baker and Merkin here was a lot of fun. Sorry that some of the other people had bad luck. Wynn had a good job going. I like working with him, and Steve did a hell of a job pushing there.
All right. Well, before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
I got to always thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Everything we do is for him. That's why we're here. I got to thank Ryko. They've been doing really good, and working with them on the setups there. Martin Sports, Lennox Industries. And like I said, thank you guys for putting on the broadcast, and Ron for putting on the race. It was a lot of fun.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is your winner tonight, Jason Maines. We will leave them alone and go hop over to your second place finisher here. Just a second. All right, and I have now found your second place finisher, Steve Korsak. Steve, you got a copy?
I got you.
Well, I'll tell you what, you and Zachary Lima were dominant early again. That's what we've seen from you guys at these super speedway races. Once you lost them there, you still had a shot at it at the end. Looks like the move wasn't quite enough. What more did you need to get him at the line?
I mean, you said it. I needed my teammate there at the end. I didn't have any help. I was just trying to get as far as I could, man. That was really tough. Those guys are really good, and it's just, I'm even surprised I'm able to be there at the end. It's really fun.
Well, I think being there at the end comes into a little bit of the strategy play. It looked like you had some damage throughout the race, but you saved your fast repair. And what, just real quick for the viewers at home, what's the mindset when you get in a wreck early? Do you think about using that fast repair immediately, or do you have to think about the bigger idea?
It's always on your mind whether or not you need to use it, but you just kind of judge it off how much of the optional repair that you have. And then you got to test it out and hope that you get another caution if you decide not to take it, because there's a chance you're going to lose the draft. So it's just kind of hit or miss, and sometimes you get lucky or if you save it, you can use it at the end, like I did. That was my saving grace.
Well, it looks like it worked out for you tonight. Congrats on the second place finish. Is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out to Dale Cup. Shout out to you guys for the broadcast. This is probably my new favorite broadcast. I really enjoy watching it after the race. And thanks to Ron for putting it on, and all the drivers that show up to these. They put on a good show, and the racing's great. Appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is your second place finisher, Steve Korsak. You heard it there. He likes Ghost Racing Network. We always appreciate that. Quick reminder, by the way, Ghost Racing Network will be broadcasting the Dale Cup race this Friday. We'll have more information on that coming soon. Don't miss out. That is just about going to wrap it up for us tonight. But before we go, got a couple things to go over. First thing being your finishing results. First place tonight was Jason Maines, second. Steve Korsak, third. Garrett Maines, fourth is going to be Christopher McCall. Rounding out the top five in the last money spot is going to be Michael Triscaro. Sixth, David Sheets. Seventh, Danny Eshelman. Eighth, Ron Morris Jr. Ninth, Brandon Broadfoot. Rounding out the top 10, Jacob Emery. 11th, Jeff Merck. 12th, Matthew Baker. 13th, Mark Vondell. 14th, Mike Davenport. 15th, Ken McCall Jr. 16th, Kyler Wynn. 17th, Zachary Lima. 18th, William H. Scott. And 19th, last car in the field tonight, Chad Ross. How about, let's give a little congrats. I think he was in here watching too. Jacob Emery. Nice run tonight, finishing in that 10th spot. Good to see him out here. That is going to do it just about for us here at Ghost Racing Network. Before we leave, too, I do want to take a look at this finish one more time, as it was pretty close. Steve Korsak, you heard it there, just needed a teammate a little bit more there at the line. I think you would have had it. If not a teammate, maybe a little bit more before the start-finish line. Needed a little bit more track, that is. Let's take a look at it. Here we go into the tri-oval. See guys dicing around further back to 22. About middle of the tri-oval. Jumps out of line right here. Here he comes. He's got to run, and it looks like gets a push. Gets about halfway up the door of that 11 car, but just runs out of room to do it. And you see it right here. This is just how close the finish was. Maybe not quite a photo finish, but a definitely valiant from Steve Korsak. Margin of victory was 4/100ths of a second for Jason Maines in that 11th car. So that will officially wrap it up for us here tonight at Ghost Racing Network. Want to thank everybody for coming out. I cannot believe we hit 500 subs tonight. It means a lot. I hope everybody did enjoy, and we'll see you guys next time.